stuff does help.
It absolutely does. I mean, when I was gung ho about it, it's amazing. Yeah, and I'm realizing I need to kind of get back in.
It's such a normal human thing of, it's hard to be very consistent with a lot of things. It's context is important. A lot of
Yeah,
things we can be consistent with, but yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you're here. Well,
yeah. Thank you.
Nancy Munch, good to see both of you too.
Good morning.
Today, so we're gonna work on different squatting and hinging type stuff. So a lot of hip flexion, knees, ankles. To prepare, we'll do some rotational stuff, some cars. Um, if you have a stick or something to hold on to, that's going to be great because we're going to do a lot of standing stuff for the knees and balance. And if you have a block or two, that may help because I'm going to have you do some like hold stuff while we're holding a squat. And if that gets a little challenging, having something to kind of pop down on is always nice, a nice option. So, without further ado, we're going to start standing. All right, we're going to start off in a way that I really like to start things off, which is to kind of shake things out a little bit. So, arms. This is like the easiest way to start, like wrists, arms, shoulders. You can get the legs involved, and I like to it's kind of fun. It's a good way to get the blood flowing, but B, it helps you sort of assess where you're holding tension, or like what part of your body doesn't really want to relax or shake out, and you can encourage it to do so. Oh yeah. So with hinging and with squatting, you can keep shaking out a little bit here. This is more of like a hinge or deadlift. Squat tends to be more up and down. Both require a lot of hip flexion, so we're going to work on that a lot today. We're going to get some stretching going. Those thighs are going to be feeling it by the end. That's a good thing. So next up, what I'm going to have us do is just practice some like easy squats. So I don't want you using too much energy. Just see like if you are in a comfortable position with your feet, how low and how easily can you squat down? Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be super low. I want you to keep it pain-free. There we go. We'll just do a couple more reps here. Warm things up a little bit. There we go. All right, so with squatting and hinging, or like deadlifting, people would call it, really, there's kind of a continuum. And depending on your mobility, you may be more hip dominant or more knee dominant. But I want to teach us to basically, just have more options available. So you can go here if you want, or you can go here, and your body's going to be okay. So now we're going to do more of a hinge. So think about folding at the hips and even doing like a toe touch or an attempted toe touch. So that's much more of a folding at the hips. You can allow the spine to bend a little bit, that's okay. But I want most of the motion coming from the hips. And here we're warming up a little bit, but we're also assessing. So how does this feel? We may try a little bit of this at the end as well. And some of this reaching and squatting down can be a little bit passive because we're using gravity as an assist. So we're going to go through strategies to make it more active, which naturally will be more fun, take more energy. So in order to be good at hinging, squatting, being a human, hips are important. So we're going to do some hip cars next. You can hold on to something if you'd like. I'm going to use a stick here. So we're going to do three standing hip cars each direction. So we're going to take our hip that has room to move, come across the body, up, pry out, reach back and up behind you, stay nice and tall, then you're going to go back, pry that knee and ankle up, then across your body and down. And we'll do two more just like that. Yep, nice big cars there. One of my favorite things is, if I've been doing these a lot and taking care of my body, is like waking up in the morning and the first set of hip cars just feels really smooth and easy. To me, that's kind of a barometer on how my training and recovery is going. Whew, once you get 3 reps, you can shake it out a moment, and then we'll do the other hip. So, across, up, back, awesome. And then we'll reverse it. So, the rotational capacity of our hips is going to directly influence how well we can flex our hips, which is squatting and hinging. So we'll go 3 reps total here. There we go. Okay, once you get 3, you can shake it out a moment there. We're going to focus a little bit on the ankles. So ankles will definitely get some love today. They're definitely important for squatting. But the primary focus is going to be on the hips. But here, you can hold on to something if you'd like. We're going to do some heel raises with a bent knee. If you have a ball, you could take the ball and put it between your heels. What that will do is, is as you drive up, your heels will not be able to go out. So we don't want them going out. We want them staying aligned as you go up. So start off, whether you have a ball or not, with a little bit of a bend in the knees. And then we're going to drive up, control down. Good. And for me, I like to, I don't really push too much on what I'm holding. I'm just using it as stability. I'm trying to do all the work with my feet and ankles. As we do a few more of these, try to use these tissues on the front of your shin and foot to actively pull yourself down. And you can even bend those knees a little more if you're able to. So see how I'm rocking my whole body forward like that to really bend the knees and ankles. And we'll do a few more reps here. If this starts burning, that's totally normal. So having strength and control with a bent knee and bent ankle is really key. For squatting, for sure, but also just for walking, running, jumping. And we can relax there. All right, to progress those, if those feel like something you really want to do, I don't blame you. You can spend more time. You can also gradually shift more weight into one leg, or you can even do single leg reps. Now, we're going to come down to the floor, and I'm going to have us lie down and do some ankle cars with a little bit of a hammy stretch. Ooh, nice use of the stick there, Munch. Very nice. I appreciate that. So we're going to go here. Oh, I think someone's trying to pop on here. There we go. All right, so you're going to come down. You can, whichever leg you'd like. We're going to get a little hamstring stretch. You're just going to pull back like this. Doesn't have to be extreme. Just a little stretch in the back of the leg, and from there, ankle cars. So I'm going to have you draw a really big circle with the ankle. The rest of the leg is not moving. So this position, I'm kind of warming you up into the hip flexion. Right? So your leg that's up, that hip is flexed. Let's switch directions with the ankle. There you go. Nice. Nice big circles there. You got it. Morning, Chris. And then let's switch up the legs. So we're going to get the other leg up. Comfortable stretch. Okay, and we're going to do our nice ankle cars there. All right, so this is, we're working our ankle, but we're in a flexed hip position. And this is kind of passive because we're holding it there. All right, we're going to work on a very similar position like this, but standing later on. Let's switch directions of the ankle there. Good. Another rep or two. Okay, and then you can relax there. Nice. So next we are going to do some tibial rotations, some rotations for the knees. So whichever leg you'd like to work here. I'm going to have you start with the knee bent about 90 degrees or even a little bit more acute than that. Okay, and we're going to try to rotate that shin in and out. So knee rotation, very key when it comes to squatting, hinging, any lower body stuff. Yeah. As you do this, if you're a pro with this, you can get a lot of movement. You feel those thigh muscles working. You could try to relax the foot. Rotate. Rotate. There we go. Yeah. All right, and then let's switch it up. Let's see how the other knee's doing. Same deal. We want to just start by rotating, getting that shin moving a little bit. Yep. And again, once you're able to feel those tissues working in the thigh to move, then you can start trying to relax the foot. Someone I've been working with for a long time, we started working a little bit more on this, and the effort level to rotate with the flexed foot was probably like 3 out of 10. The effort level to rotate with a relaxed foot and ankle was like a 10 out of 10. So if it's a lot harder, that's okay. I recommend practicing both if you can. There. All right, now, so with the squatting, with the hinging, etc., hips are very important. We're going to work on hip rotation a little bit. So I'm going to have you go into a 90-90 position to start with the left leg forward, right leg back. So left leg is going to be about a 90-degree angle. Right leg about a 90-degree angle. Okay, and you're going to be as upright as you comfortably can. A little bit of a stretch. We're going to do some shoulder cards. So your right shoulder is going to come across, up, rotate, reach back. As you get way back behind you, then you can reverse, go back, rotate, reach way up, and across. And we'll do 2 more of those. One thing, so this past weekend I got to play some Frisbee on pretty hard ground. I dove a lot, I hit the ground a lot, it was great. And my shoulders, who both have had a lot of problems in the past, felt really good during and after. So a lot of that is due to just strategically, progressively training the ranges I know will need to be strong. You can relax there. Cars being one of them. So it really helps to prepare because we're going to end up in weird ranges, so it makes sense to express them. So now I'm going to have us do some internal rotation liftoffs. From this 90-90 position, we are going to try to keep the knee down and lift the ankle like so. Okay, if it's a little tough, you can always move away from the ankle with your torso. If you want more of a challenge, you can go back, really try to level your pelvis, and that'll make it tougher. So we're not going really deep into the hip rotation today, but I do want to reinforce it. So, pelvis isn't moving. Can you get this thigh rotating? Yeah. Now, we're going to shift our focus to the front leg. So you're going to stay in this 90-90, and we're going to try to do external rotation lifts. So for me, I need to kind of go to the side a little bit and try to lift. So we want to try to keep the knee down. Can you lift that front ankle? Oh yeah. There we go. You're going to feel these tissues in the inner thigh trying to work. If this is still tough, you can either go all the way to your side. You can even pop something under your knee to make it a little bit easier for you to get this external rotation. Good. And we'll get a couple more of those. So we're just trying to reinforce our active range here. Okay. Then you can come out of that. We'll switch up the legs. All right, so we're going to go in the 90-90 with that right leg forward and the left leg back. Oh yeah, this is always a nice little barometer too. You know, when you get into the 90-90, how does it feel? You know, how much time you spent there recently. So other shoulder, left shoulder, we're going to come across, reach up, rotate, reach back behind, and then reverse. There we go. And good. Big reps. Try and stretch that arm away from your body. Got it. This side for the 90-90 for me is tougher, so oftentimes if I'm plopping myself on the floor, I'll try to spend more time on this side. Accumulate more reps. Good. Big cars here. Good. Once you get 3 reps, then you can relax for a moment. Okay, and we're going to do those internal rotation lifts again with the back leg. So, same idea here, same process. We're going to try to lift and bring it down. Just like that. Trying not to let the pelvis move. If it's really tough, again, you can lean the torso away from the ankle. Good. Rotate, hold for a second or two there. Nice. All right, you can relax. We'll shift our focus now to that front leg. All right, I already know that block is best for me here. So, trying to keep that knee down, lift the ankle. All right, as you're doing that, sometimes to create more stability, you can drive the opposite leg, the back leg, down into the floor. That might give you a little more force, a little more leverage to move that leg. There we go. A couple more reps here. And got it, very nice. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is a little bit more for the hips and the knees, a pigeon stretch. So I'm gonna have us go with the left leg crossed in front, the right leg stretched back, like so. All right, so from here, you can either go from the hands or the forearms, whatever works for you. And we are going to work on knee flexion of our back knee. Okay, so we're going to try to pull that heel toward your butt and extend back. Pull, try and get those hamstrings working. Good. For more of a challenge or a different challenge, you can straighten the knee when you go back and stretch the knee backwards even more. What that does, that extends this hip. It'll make you fight through a little more resistance. So try to pull that heel as close as you can toward the butt and squeeze for a moment there. Good. Active knee flexion is very important. If we're squatting, doing other lower body things, we're going to end up bending and flexing those knees. And if we have active control, we're going to be much more stable and strong there. Let's go ahead and ease out of that position. Okay, and we'll switch sides. All right, so crossing the right leg, stretch the left leg back. There we go. And we're gonna bend and extend. Try to actively pull that heel toward the butt, squeeze. All right, this is like bicep curls except for your leg. In fact, this muscle is actually called one of the big hamstring muscles is the biceps femoris. So it's like the same idea as the one in your arm. Good. Couple more reps here. Really pull. Observe how this feels compared to the other leg, the other knee. Okay. Now you can relax there for a moment, and we get to come up to standing. I'm going to take a little sip. All right. So active knee flexion can be tough. I find that my right knee, I have more range of motion, but my left knee is stronger within that range. So I work on both. So now we're going to do a single leg hip hinge, and we're going to work on different angles within that range. So you're going to plant your right leg, step your left leg back. So this is not going to be unfamiliar for most of you. So right leg planted, left leg back. We're hinging at this hip, so we're folding, my back staying flat. And a lot of times when you look at hinging, the knee isn't really moving, but it's bending as a product of the hip hinging, folding back. All right, so what I would like you to do is find a deep hinge here so you get a little bit of a stretch. Now look at the angle between my thigh and my torso, and I want to keep this about the same while I bend and extend my knee. So I'll show you. The visuals might make more sense. Boom, boom. All right, so imagine the angle here stays the same. So my chest stays close to my thigh as I drop forward, as I push back. And then push back. So think about your front leg is bending forward, pushing back, pushing the butt back and up. Your chest is staying in the same relationship to your thigh the whole time. Let's just go for one more rep here. All right, this can be a little fatiguing. You can absolutely go ahead and shake it out. You can absolutely hold on to something while you do that. So we're kind of moving through that continuum of like a hip hinge, a deadlift, and a squat by keeping this fold in the hip and just manipulating the knee position. So let's try it on the other side. What you'll probably notice is as you push back, you're going to get a lot more stretch here. Okay, so we're hinging forward, trying to keep this position. You can even put your hand here and squeeze your hand between your thigh and your torso so that you know you're keeping the same angle. Yeah, and you're pulling forward, driving back. Okay, so hip position is staying the same, knee position is changing. There we go. We'll just get a couple more here. Good, and then you can relax there. Cool. Another thing you could do, if you wanted, you could bend the knee more, which is going to allow you to fold forward more. Then you can go, okay, kind of keep my chest glued to my thigh as I push back, and you get a big stretch there. Very fun. Very fun. Whew. Okay. So we're going to work a little bit more on active hip flexion next from a half kneeling position on the floor. All right, so we're going to be on the floor. If you want a pad or something for your knee, that can help. If you have something to hold on to, a stick, a couch, etc., that will be really helpful. Where's my stick? Oh, here it is. We have an extra one coming in. All right, so right knee is down. Here's how I like to set it up. Right knee down, left hand holding something so that you have stability on either side of your front leg. All right, what we're going to do is drive down, solid here, pull your foot in a little, and then we're just going to try to lift up and back down. Okay, I'll show you from this angle. Here, lift up and back down. Cool. So if both legs were to do this, well, you'd be floating, but that would be like a deep squat. So we're practicing. I want you to pull this heel in so that your ankle is flexed, your knee is bent. Try to keep that bend. Pull up as high as you can. Great. Solid through the arm, solid through this leg. We're going to go a couple more. Pull up and down. If that opposite glute's feeling it, that's cool. Again, try to keep this leg pulled up, this foot pulled up. Up, down. Good. Big pull up and down. Nice. Let's try the other leg and we'll see how that feels. So this is also a nice assessment. If you keep this hip extended, it's a pretty consistent position from the other side. All right, so you're here, you're solid. That other arm now is holding on. Go ahead and pull that foot in toward you a little bit. Lift up, down. Might take a rep or two to get the feel for it, okay? And you might notice that you're more or less stable on this hip, the one that's down. All right, we'll do a few more reps. So pull in, flex that knee and hip, up, down. Good. Up, down. You really want to try to close this angle here. And down. And then you can relax there. Whew. So it's nice to work on that in isolation where you're working both legs or each leg individually so that they can work really well together. Because now what we're going to do is a deep squat progression. And I want your focus to be on using these muscles. So the muscles we use to pull up are now doing the same thing, but because your feet are glued, rather than your legs going up, your torso is going down. So pull yourself down. So we're going to start with a toe touch or attempted toe touch. Then get in touch with these muscles here. Actively pull yourself down into a nice deep squat. Chest up. Arms up. Slowly stand. Beautiful. All right, let's do two more of those. So here, hinge, actively pull down, hips down, chest up, arms up tall, and stand. Wonderful. One more. Hinge, actively pull down. Yep. Arms up. Stand. Woo! Now we're going to do one rep where you're just starting tall. We're pulling straight down into the squat, standing. So this is a kinetic stretching rep, so we're going to go nice and slow down, nice and slow up. All right, ready? Start here. You're pulling down. Feet are gripping. Go ahead and actively pull down. Pull, pull, pull as low as you can go. Use those hip muscles. Use the core. Pull. Get to the basement. Slowly drive back up. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Whew. Fantastic. All right, you can take the legs, get a little breather here. We're going to go into some spinal cars. So always nice to get the spine going. So you can go kneeling on the floor if you're comfortable with that. You can always stand if you'd like. If you want to take a load off the knees, you can sit on a block or on a cushion or something. So we're going to be kneeling position like so. We're going to do either arms crossed or a nice little self-hug. And we're going to go flexing, then to the right, around, and then we'll go the other way. So slowly start rounding the spine. Rotate chest and shoulders right. Tip to the right. Extend back through the whole spine. Tip left. Rotate left. Start rounding down back to the center. And then we'll come up, then we'll do it the other way. So we're rounding one vertebrae at a time. Rotate left, tip left, extend back, tip right, rotate right, round down. Shake out the arms a moment. We're going to do one more each way. This time, wherever your arms were, switch them. Other arm on top. All right, slowly round down. If you're not sure where you were with the arms, go right here. Whichever way feels least comfortable is typically the way to go. Tip, extend, tip, rotate, round down. And up, good. We'll go one more the other way. Nice and slow and controlled. Good. Make sure you're breathing. Nice big range of motion through the spine. Awesome. All right. Next, we're going to do some of my favorite type of elbow cars, which is squatting elbow cars. So if you have something low that you can sit on, like yoga blocks, like one or two, you can use that. If you're able to hold that squat, cool. It's going to be probably about 30 to 40 seconds. I will demonstrate real quick. So it'll be like this. Elbow cars where we're kind of driving out into the thighs. So if this doesn't feel super comfortable, you're not sure you can hold it, you could pop a block down. You can put two, or you could sit on a couch or chair. If you're pretty high up though, I would suggest trying to be like really light on whatever you're sitting on so your legs are still active. Okay, so we're gonna squat down. Nice deep squat. Arms go into the thighs. Hands out, welcoming your deep squat. And we're going to pull the palms in, rotate away, press away. Rotate, pull, rotate, press away. And you can try and pry those thighs out with the arms. Pull, rotate, press away. Now we're going to reverse it. So pull the top of the hands toward those shoulders. Rotate like you're opening your book. Extend out. Rotate. Pull. Open your book. Welcome your deep squat. One more. Pull. Rotate. Extend and reach. And then we can slowly come up. All right, so that's one rep. We'll do 10. We'll have a great day. Just kidding. But there are a lot of ways you can find to spend time in a deep squat or in positions that your body wants more of. So take a moment. We're going to come back to the floor and we're going to do some flexion for the hips, knees, and ankles lying down. All right, so we worked on the kneeling hip flexion. Now we're going to work on lying down. All right, so for this, you could use something for your hands if you want to, not totally necessary. we're going to try to imagine you're in a deep squat. I want you to flex those toes, pull the toes toward your shins, bend the knees, and you're pulling up and extending down. Okay, as you extend, you can relax the heels for a moment. All right, so you can either hold something overhead or you can use your arms to drive into the ground for extra leverage. All right, so you're using these front tissues to pull the knees up, pull the heels and ankles up, and then you can even get the spine moving. Come back down, extend. But you're trying to max out flexion. So you're trying to bend the hips, bend the knees, bend the ankles, and hold that bend without letting them extend as you pull in, all right? So imagine you're an accordion, all right? You're folding up. You're folding up as much as you can, slowly extending back. Let's go for one more rep. Really feel those tissues working on your front side. Pulling in, bending, slowly extending back. Whew. Oh, that's great. So feeling those tissues and practicing that will help prepare us for things like deep squats, deep hip flexion, so that you can control the position rather than just falling into it. So now what we're going to do is another exercise where we're going to kind of hold a deep squat as best as you can, and we're going to do something else in that position. We're going to do heel raises. I'll show you again. So we'll squat down as deep as you can control. You don't have to go way down. If this is as much as you want to go, cool. But we're going to come down. We're going to drive through the ball of the foot and back down. We're going to go for about 30 seconds. Okay, so pull yourself down. You're actively hanging, so I don't want you relaxing. All right, you're actively there, holding. And then we're driving and pulling down. And you can do this a couple different ways. So notice how what I'm doing is my whole body is moving up and down like an elevator. I can also try to just move my thighs. It's a little harder. It's just a little different experience for the feet and ankles. We're just going to go a couple more reps here. I know you all want to stay here for as long as possible, but I'm going to have to cut you off. That's enough dessert. And then you can come up out of it if you're able. If that, I know I'm talking and I seem to be having fun with it, and I genuinely am. If it's excruciating for you or tough, that is totally okay. I practice this a lot, so don't expect it to be easy and smooth. And I am a little out of breath. So, turns out talking through this is a little bit of a challenge. So now, we get to move on to another favorite of mine. Any of you follow me on social media, you saw me probably doing some of this. We're going to do standing knee hinges. So we've done, this part. Then in order to really work on that hinge part, then we work on extending the knee from that hip flexed position. So we're going to go with that left leg first. Just like with kneeling, I like to have a stability point on either end of the leg that's working. So right leg's planted, left arm has the pole. Just like we did lying down, we're pulling the knee up as high as we can, keeping it bent. As high as you can go. Then we're going to slowly extend and then bring it back and down. Okay? We're going to go for 3 more reps. Our goal is to keep the knee as high as possible, even if we don't fully extend. We're fighting for it, fighting for it, fighting for it. Back down. Whew. Good. 4 reps total here. Extend. You'll feel those hip flexors, feel those quads working. Yeah. And you're probably going to feel that opposite leg working hard to stabilize too. Yeah. Once you get 4 or lose count, you can take a moment, and then we get to do it with the other leg. Okay, so again, bent knee as much as you can, pull up as high as possible. Then we want to extend and bring back. Whew, 3 more. Solid through your stability points here. Hold for a second or two. And your goal is to maintain this hip angle. Boom. I'm keeping that. Yeah. Whew. If you really fight to keep that, every millimeter of it, it's going to make this a lot more challenging and rewarding. Once you get 4 there, we can relax there for a moment. Whew. All right, and then we're going to practice just a basic hip hinge. So if you ever do deadlifts, with or without weight, this is a really good thing to practice. So we've done it 1 leg, we're going to do it with 2. So you're up tall, and imagine your knees are staying pretty much the same position, but the hips are going back, like so. Folding at your hips, back up. Load up the hamstrings and glutes. Fold at your hips, and back up. This is a very, very strong position, okay, once we practice it. If you are lifting heavy weight, or you're lifting a heavy box, or whatever, I recommend having a fairly mirrored angle with your torso and your thighs. So something like this, where it's a similar angle. It certainly doesn't have to be perfect, right? And it depends what you're picking up and how low it is. But if you're picking up heavy weight, you want to make sure you're in a position where these muscles can do a lot of the work. Good. And you can make this a lot tougher even without weight by using these muscles. So if I pull, actively pull, force my butt back, feel the stretch, drive through the floor hard with my heels, and slowly drive up, I can create a lot of tension. And you want to practice that, we'll go 1 more, and get really good at creating that tension even without weight. That's going to make you a lot stronger and more prepared to do a movement like that with weight. And then we can relax. And more great news, we're going to do more knee hinges, except this time with a thigh orientation. So we were probably somewhere around neutral before. What I'm going to have you do now is internally rotate your thigh. So it's going to be like this, like that. Okay, so my thigh is turning internally, and then I'm going to do my knee hinges that way. What I want you to focus on, though, is not just moving through your torso, all right, and going here, but trying to rotate the thigh, extend, pull back. We're only going to do 3 reps. These can be a little nasty. All right, so pull up as high as you can go. Internally rotate that thigh. Hold internal rotation as you extend, pull back, and down. Oh yeah. Pull up as high as you can. Internally rotate that thigh. Extend, back, down. 1 more here. Up. Internally rotate. So fun. Extend, back, and down. Well done there. Woo! Yeah, you might feel some stuff going on in the hips there. So it's nice to work on the knees, the hips, or the hamstrings and the hinging with different hip orientations. So we got that other hip we can work on. How cool, we got a second hip. Up, internally rotate, extend, back, down. Good. Up, internally rotate, extend, back, down. Wonderful. Last one, up, rotate, extend, back, and down. Whew. Okay, you can take a moment there, shake it out a little. Very nice. We're going to do a hip hinge with a kickstand, and this is like a hybrid squat hinge. So this I love. You can use a stick if you'd like to, but we're gonna go left leg forward, right leg is our kickstand. So I actually want this right leg fairly close, not way back, and I want to focus most of our attention on the left leg. So we're here, we're gonna hinge, we're gonna push the butt back and back up. So that angle is similar to what we were just working on. We're pushing back, but it's only with the one leg. As you get more, what I want you to focus on is taking away the support of the right leg, of the back leg. Okay, so back leg is doing less and less. You're loading up that front leg, and one way you can help doing that is think about folding your chest towards that front thigh. Good. Yep. Let's just go for one more rep here. And then you can relax. All right. Another really nice thing that you can do if you're into training, and especially weight training, is you can load up a single leg like this, and you don't have to use as much weight as you do for a 2-leg deadlift. So it's actually less stress on the rest of your body. So let's go with the other leg. Forward. Get our little kickstand. Hinge back. And up. So I do a lot of deadlifts like this, where I might hold 1 or 2 weights. Yep. But it's always good to practice first and make sure you can really own this position. So as you get better at it, try to shift that weight into this front leg. Try to feel it with the hamstring and the glute. You're going to feel that quad too, but really try to get the backside tissues working. Let's go for one more rep. Nice. And then we can relax. Whew. All right, cool. Lots of fun stuff here. We are going to do one final set of knee hinges. I really appreciate none of you have left me yet. So I know these aren't the most fun. So we're just going to do 2 reps because it's a lot on the groin. It's a lot on the hip flexors. So what we're going to do is now externally rotated and extend. All right, and that's going to hit a lot more of this inner thigh tissue. So get ready. We are bringing the knee up as high as we can. Externally rotating. Yep. Extend. Bring it back and down. This one's just so fun. These tissues really get involved. Up as high as you can. Externally rotate. Hold external as you extend. Bring it back and down. Okay, just 2 there. Shake it out. Yep. And now we get to do the other one. External rotation, just like the beginning of that hip car. All right, up. Externally rotate. Extend. Bring it back. Down. Whew, one more. Up. Externally rotate. Extend. Bring it back and down. Awesome. All right, you can take a little breather there. And we've got some more, a little more hip hinging and squatting to go here. And before that, we're gonna do a little more for the hips and for the ankles. So, bear sit position is a nice way to train your hips in a way that helps with squats without just like sitting at the bottom of the squat like I made you do. So We're gonna go here with the heels kind of wide, prying the hips out. And I'm gonna have you grab your shins or down toward your ankles. And if you can, try to pry those arms, try to pry those hips open with the arms into the thighs. Good, nice and tall. Now from here, we're gonna do some ankle cars. Shins aren't moving. This is another nice combo exercise I really like. There you go. And if you want more of a stretch, you can bring your chest closer to your feet. So, or pull your feet back. So that's going to help you find a deeper stretch here, and widening the heels will do that as well. We can switch directions with the feet. Yeah. Nice. Then relax there for a moment. And I will show you what's next. This is another one where it's helpful to have something to hold on to. We're going to do a quad stretch and hip hinge. All right, another one of my favorites. So holding on to something can be helpful. If holding and grabbing your foot is not comfortable, you can also try to just hold it there. But if you're able to, same arm as the leg. My right arm's going to grab my right leg. I'm going to pull that back into a nice stretch. Tuck my pelvis. So I get a stretch through the quad. Then I'm going to hinge through my left leg and up tall. Okay, so I'm pushing the hip back. Notice how I'm letting my left knee bend, but it's not going way forward. All right, I'll show you from this angle. My body weight is going back and then up tall. Weight shifting back to my heel. Good, and I'm trying to get a straight line, if I can, from my kneecap to my head. And let's just try a couple more reps. So I find this works best if you have like an immovable pole that you can hold on to so that you can like lean back into it. And then you can relax there. That's another combo exercise I love. So if you can get to the point where you can do that comfortably, or maybe not comfortably, but you can do it successfully, it feels great. It gives you a nice hip extension and quad stretch on one side, hip flexion on the other. So we'll switch, left arm and left leg. All right, pull back, tuck that pelvis, so you get a nice stretch through the quad. Then we're going to hinge back and up. Hinge back and up. The cool thing with this, I think, actually, I'll wait. I'll hold that thought. So, hinge. Try and load up the back of your standing leg. Imagine a straight line from your knee to your head. Good. You're reaching your weight back, allowing that standing hip to take on the weight. Last rep here, and then you can come up. Whew. Delightful. So, take a little breather. We're almost there. I'm going to have you do 2 more kinetic stretching squats. So pulling down deep into a squat and up. We'll do one with wider feet than normal. All right, so normal, wider than your normal comfortable squat. And then we'll do one with narrow feet. So you'll feel some different things being challenged. All right, so get ready. We're going to go wide first. All right, and think about that bear sit position. Okay, prying those hips out, gripping the floor with your feet. And then we're going to use these tissues just like we've been working on all day, especially these. Ready? Start actively pulling yourself down as low as you can go. Hang out, pull a little lower. Good. Now slowly drive up. Good. Good, exactly. You're pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Yeah. The more you practice, the more you can challenge yourself with less, which is kind of cool. So the better you get at creating internal tension and even using your imagination with that, the more you can actually create force, even without any weight. All right, so we're going to do one more narrow as you dare. Naturally, this is going to rely a little more on ankle and probably hip flexion, because you're going to run out of ankle motion and you're going to have to come down like this, but go as low as you can. All right, ready? You're going to grip, slowly pull. All right, use those shins to pull you down, hip flexors, bend those knees as much as you can. Pull, pull, pull as low as you can go. Reaching your arms forward might help. Hold, slowly drive back up. Slowly. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Woo! Awesome. I'm going to have you come down to the floor. We're going to do some of my favorite things here, where I'm just going to have you do this. And I just want you to like get some really easy. You can even, you can alternate. I want you to feel like your legs are light. We're just going to reinforce more our knee flexion and extension. Okay, so the knees got a lot today. All right, and to help with any recovery or soreness, getting really easy movement helps a lot. Flexion, extension, and rotation. Good. So when we're not at our end ranges of our hips, like hips flexed or hips extended, bending and extending our knees usually isn't that hard, but it's still good for you. Now, final thing I'm going to have you do is just work some extra tibial rotations. As much or as little focus as you need here. We just want to keep it easy. Easy and easy. And the thought that I put on hold, that I'll come back to, is the more you practice a lot of stuff, the easier it becomes, and it can shift where it goes in your life. So for example, I love that quad stretch and hip hinge, and to me it feels so good. I started doing it a lot, so now it's part of my like warm-up, wake-up routine. And a year or two ago, it would not have been. It would have been too intense and too challenging. So the more you work on some of this stuff, the more easily you can fit it into your life. And I'll show you while you're doing the knees, my favorite rendition of that is I do a few hinges and then nice big stretch, and then I rotate in and out. And if you can do that without pain, and notice how I'm gripping here, it feels so good. And that hip rotation with a planted foot is really good for you. So you're all done. You made it. Great work today. Yeah, thank you for joining, and hope the body's feeling good.
Thanks, Brian. That was a lot of time in very challenging positions. So what better way to start the weekend?
I couldn't agree more. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, hey, that's...
Ending the weekend.
Right. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, you can nap the rest of the weekend. You did the important part as far as I'm concerned, so...